The following is a presentation of Norla Sports Incorporated. The views expressed in this podcast are solely those of the presenters and do not reflect ownership or management of Norla Sports. Your number one source for high school sports in North Louisiana. Welcome to the spot for big names and big games. It's time for the Norla Sports Football Recap Show with your host, JD. Hello, this is JD with the Norla Sports Recap Show. We are not in studio today, so things are going to be running a little bit different. As you know, we went to Halton last night to cover the game of the week, and Halton is in the Shreveport-Bossier Greater Metro area. And we are staying at the lovely Horseshoe Bossier City Casino, Hotel, Resort, etc. Just a big thank you before we get started to Horseshoe for letting us record here. So things may be a little bit different. You may hear some things going on here and there because it's not the studio. It's not where we normally are, but we're really excited to be doing the show from here. We hope to have a good show as we recap Week 4 and look ahead to Week 5. I just want to say that this is the first time we covered a game of the week in the northwest part of the state. And as always, it is lovely and it is beautiful and there's lots of great people. And we are so excited to be here. As you know, we like to have a guest on the show. And if I may give my guest a little bit of introduction this week, he is a former Norla baseball standout. He is a sports expert, and he is very passionate about what he does, and he is a first-time guest on the show. My guest this week is the Sports Smith. Sports Smith, how are you?
Doing pretty well. What about yourself?
I mean, I'm doing good. You came along to Game of the Week with us last night, and it was a lot of fun. We were glad to have your insight on everything, and we're really excited to have your expertise and insight on the podcast today. And we like to start, usually, Smith, by going over the Game of the Week, which last night, as you know, we went to Halton. We saw the Bird Yellow Jackets travel to the Halton Buccaneers. Halton came in as a big favorite. Bird was winless before last night, and spoiler alert, they still are. Halton moves to undefeated as they beat Bird 35-14. But before we get into that, as you know, we like to cover a local restaurant before the game. The restaurant this week was Swamp Daddy's Seafood and Steaks. And Smith, what did you think about the meal last night?
Well, you know that the meal was very, very good. Good seafood. I really enjoyed it very much. You know, Dak Prescott used to really eat there a lot back when he went to Halton. Right before every game, he would always have a big burger and fries, so get his carbs in, so he could throw very well.
That makes sense.
Yeah, he's very well known in that area.
Mm-hmm. I saw some Prescott Cowboys jerseys at the game last night. You would think that Swamp Daddy's being the premier location of restaurant, eatery, spot, etc. in Halton would have some Prescott memorabilia hanging around, but they didn't. Maybe they should get in touch with them.
Yeah. It was very disappointing that they didn't have that in there. I really expected a lot of Dak Prescott deals in there, but they had a good vibe to the place. Very good food, great service. If anybody wants to go to that area and try out their food, they need to.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're 4 for 4 with good restaurants on Game of the Week so far, and I definitely recommend Swamp Daddy's in Halton. And you were mentioning Prescott. He did play quarterback at Halton, and I just want to talk about the young quarterback for Halton last night. Looked great. The offense for the Halton Buccaneers is I knew they were good coming in, but I haven't seen them yet this year, and they just looked flawless, running and throwing the ball. They can sling the ball all over the place, and they scored very quickly. And in the end, it was just too much for Bird to handle. Bird likes to run the ball, and they ran pretty decently. They chewed up a lot of time of possession, but turnovers hurt them, and just not being able to stop Halton hurt them. And Halton kind of ran away with this one at the end, 35-14. Probably could have scored again at the end to cover that spread. But if you're a coach, Coach Brotherton, and then boys, they're not really worried about the spread, right? They're just trying to get the win, and they did last night. So kudos to them. They moved to 4-0 in the season, and they are looking forward to continuing with district play as they have won their first district game last night. What were your thoughts on the actual game last night, Smith?
Well, I really really didn't enjoy the simple fact that Bird just was a ground and pound team. I know they come in with a game plan and they wanted to really, stick it to Halton and try to wear out their defense. But towards the end of the game, it should have been more of a throwing game for them. They should have changed their game plan, in my opinion. And
You did mention that a lot in the game. To your credit, you mentioned that a lot to me last night. You said if Bird's going to win this game, they're going to have to start throwing the ball. And they tried at the end, but it seemed to be a little bit too late. So you're right there.
Yeah, and there was a big ordeal at the end of the game. A good technical foul at the with the referees and everything. And big fight with the coaches.
Yeah,
fans kind of got hot and heated, but definitely a big technical foul. Should have been 2 free throws.
Well, yeah, I agree. We had a good view on that area of the field. And what happened, for those of you who don't know what happened in the game, Bird was driving down the field, and they had the ball on the goal line, and they got stopped. No, it was the other way around. Haynesville had the ball on the goal line, and Bird made a stop, but there was some sort of call. Nobody really knows what it was. Bird thought they recovered a fumble, but the ref said no. The coach for Bird argued for a long time on the field, but eventually nothing happened. I really don't know what went down because it was still 4th down after the call.
Well, clearly you don't know because it wasn't at Haynesville. It was at Houghton.
Oh, did I say? Oh, this okay. So Rat has come into the room now. Top Rat, a former guest on the show who helps us with Game of the Week coverage.
This is Top Rat, and great to be another guest on the show.
Now, Rat, did you not get the notice that there was a different guest this week? Smith is.
I was told you weren't going to be here.
Yes, I told you we were recording, and Smith is the Sports Smith is our guest this week.
It's just going to be some slight oversight and just got to pick up some loose ends and crumbles and. I'm just going to help out.
I'm the expert.
Yeah, so. Rat, I know you're as stubborn as you are. We're probably not going to get you out of here, but just keep in mind that the Sportsmith is an expert with sports. You're an expert with numbers and with locations, but the Sportsmith really knows what he's talking about. So if you can listen in, I'm okay. Or Smith, are you okay with Rat listening in?
Man, as long as they don't, disagree with anything I say, I'm fine with him being here. It's whatever.
Well, he shouldn't. Yeah.
Everybody, listen up. Trust me, guys. I'm not gonna hijack the show.
All right. Well, that would be a first. Okay. So, well, Rat, since you're here, you were, to be fair, you were at Game of the Week as well last night. Do you have any thoughts on the Game of the Week?
I thought so far that everything that's been said about the Bird and Halton game is true, and I haven't heard anything that I can disagree with yet, but I will be listening closely. Gonna see if there's anything I can add to this podcast in a helpful way and re-earn my true position as number one guest on the show.
Rat going back to, excuse you, Smith. Rat going back to his days as an auditor, I suppose, listening in, looking for mistakes. But as he knows, he's not going to find any. Before we move on to the key games, some last thoughts on Game of the Week. Good crowd for Halton, decent crowd for Bird, good student sections for both sides, a good atmosphere overall. I was very impressed with the show last night at Halton. Anyways, some other games. We like to go over about 4 key games from the week before, so I'm going to run through them real quick. Smith, if you have any thoughts as I go, just interject. One that's Rat.
JD, I do want to say quickly, just very quickly. I know we're already off Game of the Week, but I do want to say the fence that Halton uses in the end zone. They could at least put it on the field-most side of the track to allow the fans a little closer view. There's no need to put it on the other side of the track. Come on, Halton. Let's give the fans a better chance to watch the game for this Game of the Week that it just ended at Halton Bird. They came over, and let's try to make it a little more about give the fans a better view.
I agree, but you kind of ignored the fence anyways, so I'm not sure what your complaint is there. Late in the game, you're just up as close as you want. Anyways, next, moving on. Haynesville, the Golden Tornado, got their first win on the road at Plain Dealing. Plain Dealing a slight favorite to that one, but Haynesville doubles them up 48-24. So hopefully the Golden Tornado are back on the right track. They will surely get their second win next week as they go to Magnolia School of Excellence. Magnolia actually put up 14 points this week. That's a season high for them. But Haynesville should go in there and wreck shop.
That's an all-time high.
It is. This is their first year playing football, as you know. And then Plain Dealing will travel to Arcadia, where they should take care of business there as well. Arcadia just lost to Homer pretty bad. What some other people had as their game of the week was Ouachita at Union, a 5A school going to a 3A school. We teased it last week, and it did not disappoint. It was a rough and tough battle, a gritty, old school, classic death match. Well, not a good word there, but Ouachita comes around with a 21-14 win over the Union Fighting Farmers. A heartbreak for Union, almost upsetting a 5A school, and a squeaker for the Ouachita Lions as they can breathe easy. They will travel to Bastrop next week, so it doesn't get any easier for them, and Union will travel to Franklin. That should be a low-scoring game. Another one, a shocker to some, but not to others. Two of the best teams in the state, Neville Tigers, traveled down to St. Thomas More, and they picked up their first loss at the hands of the St. Thomas More, and it was not even close. STM wins 35-6, and Neville's going to have to bounce back quick as they host West Monroe next week. So a tough schedule for the Tigers. We talked about it early in the season, but hopefully them boys can keep their heads up and come away with a good lesson from this loss. Hopefully they can fix what went wrong and try to get that offense back on track. And the fourth game I want to talk about, Evangel at West Monroe. And I have to apologize to Rat from last week. I did say that they had only played once, but that's because Max Preps lied to me. I found out later that the Max Prep site only keeps games in the database from 2004 and later. So in one sense, they haven't played much lately. They haven't played since 2004, but they did play several times before that. It was hard to find a record of that. So, Rat, I do apologize. But West Monroe does take care of business at home against Evangel, and they win 23-7. Evangel did strike first in that one, but then West Monroe rolls off 23 unanswered to finish the game, and so they hand the Evangel Christian Eagles another loss. Evangel gets another tough test next week at home versus Sola opponent Lafayette Christian. They're a defending state champion. And West Monroe, as we mentioned before, travels to Neville. That's going to be a huge game for both of those schools between two potential state champion caliber teams. So that's our four games. Smith, do you have any thoughts on any of those games?
I know Carroll.
There's Rat.
Yeah, Rat. You know, kind of Sports Smith here.
Did you say
chime in?
Did you say Carroll?
I'd like to.
Well, just hold that thought, Smith. What do you have to say?
Well, you know that I think those are all terrible games this week. Had a lot of blowouts. The Union game was a very disappointing game for me. I think I really thought they were going to pull that one out as far as being the team that they are and what we heard on the last podcast about them.
Yeah, sports. You know, the Sportsmith represents the everyman. He likes it when a smaller school can upset a bigger school, and so I'm sure he had all his hopes and dreams on the Union Fighting Farmers, as a lot of us surely did. No disrespect to Ouachita, but we do like it when a smaller school upsets a big school, and they couldn't quite pull that off.
Yeah, and I really think that the Neville and West Monroe game next week is really going to be a big test for Neville coming back from that big loss. I mean, having to go down to St. Thomas More and really just get the dog beat out of them in that game, it's really going to be tough for them to come back to play such a caliber team as West Monroe.
One caliber team, Carroll, did beat the dog out of Huntington. Carroll has a lot of caliber.
Rad didn't even know that Huntington was a school last week.
Well, it sounds like an MPSA school, and I think everyone in the Norla would agree.
They play here in Shreveport.
Regardless, Carroll has got another W in the ledger.
I just hope that when we walk about the lobby here at the Horseshoe that you don't go spouting nonsense about Huntington because their fans might be offended by that.
Little known about the Horseshoe, they have a spa on the second floor. You could spend at least 4 hours there.
Irrelevant.
And get your money's worth. Guys, got to try out the second floor spa. Indulge, treat yourself. Get a spa, get a massage, stay in the sauna, and I'm going to kick it back to Sportsmith with his expertise.
Smith, are you going to get a spa? Are you going to go to the spa?
God, dog, I don't even know what to do with this guy right now.
This is what I deal with all the time.
It was part of the show, guys.
is trying to talk sports,
we
and we're talking about
have to
getting
meld and mix and
trying to get pedicures
and we just
got
got we all got to get along.
I don't know.
Carol, why does he bring
Part
Carol
of the show.
Okay.
We do get along, and then you bring up Carol Huntington.
Carol,
They're not even on the list. They're not even on the agenda.
who even cares?
Right.
Oh,
Outside of Rat.
Outside of Rat.
The Carol community. That's who cares.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
everybody cares. I mean, the Arcadia community cares, and they got blown up by Homer. We're not talking about them.
Well, Arcadia and Homer, that's really should have been a better game, in my opinion.
I agree.
Two smaller schools like that.
Mm-hmm. They were both winless, so somebody
had to
give.
win.
Yeah,
right.
Something had to give.
And I don't know why Rat wants to talk about Carroll.
Homer blew out Arcadia, but I'm sure it was a better game than Carroll blowing out Huntington.
Yeah, why?
I can't remember the last time I've seen Carroll play anything. I mean, I think now is probably a good time since Rat has come in and derailed things for a commercial break. So we're going to take a short break and try to get our affairs in order. Hopefully when we come back, everything will be back on track because we have the expertise of the Sportsmith, so everything should be fine. And when we come back, we're going to look to some key games from next week, so don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Norla Sports Recap Podcast with JD and my host, Sportsmith, and we will be right back. Hey, Norla, JD here, coming at you post-production with a little editing note here. Normally, we would put a commercial in this slot, but unfortunately, we did not have any advertisers contact us this week, probably because we were so busy in the Shreveport area and the fiasco with Rat in the recording studio. I would like to take the time to apologize for that. We will try to be more professional next time, but we got a little busy, so no ad this week. But I hope you're enjoying the podcast, and I guess we'll let you get back to the show. And we're back from the break. As promised on the Norla Sports Podcast, we're going to talk about some potential games of the week next week. We're going to run down 4, Smith. That's how it goes. I'm going to give 4 potential games that fans are going to be able to vote for on Twitter. Are you ready to hear the game, Smith?
Oh, yes, I'm ready to hear about them. Let's go.
Okay. Without further ado, the first game we have is, the first option we have is Oak Grove at St. Frederick. The Tigers. What is that?
Rat, I thought you were going to the
Rat has turned on College Game Day. Rat. I know we're not in the studio, but what could that? What are they talking? Could that possibly be more important than what we're talking about?
We're trying to talk about the new game, so they were
recording.
What?
I told you that the room is the studio. We got clearance from Horseshoe for this, and you're going to go turn the TV on. I know we went to a commercial break, but it wasn't that long. You're going to have to.
Y'all have to communicate a little better about when this thing starts up again. There's a lot of breaks, and
excuse me, Rat. We're over here trying to talk about the game of the week. You're watching football.
It's good to have somebody on my side for once. It feels nice. It feels really good.
Rat,
we have to bring you back as a regular guest.
Since you want to, chime in, watch sports, why don't we talk about the sports that were, the actual sports here?
Good segue. First game is Oak Grove at St. Frederick. The Tigers travel to the Warriors, a 1A district matchup in Monroe. It should be a defensive battle. I know we've already covered Oak Grove once this year, but the main rule for game of the week is that we don't go to the same location twice. We covered Oak Grove in Sterlington. This time they're going to St. Fred. That should be a fun one to look forward to. A very defensive matchup indeed. Another one would be Mangum at North Caddo. A good 2A matchup there. Mangum is undefeated on the year. They're just whooping tail left and right.
Mangum's always had a pretty decent football team over the years.
Dragons.
They've always seem to capitalize in big games to put them on top.
Mm-hmm. They've proved the odds makers wrong time and time again. They've made me look foolish, and I applaud them for that. That's what we like to see. If a lot of high school fans, players, coaches, business owners, etc. follow our Twitter account, media outlets, all that kind of stuff. And when I make a team a big underdog, that's not a show of disrespect. I'm just trying to be honest to what I think is going to happen. And when you come and prove me wrong, that's what it's really all about.
Yeah, I mean, I bet Mangum beat Carroll, but that's just me.
If Mangum played Carroll, Carroll would probably forfeit.
Yeah, it would be a blowout.
And Rat would probably be there cheering them on every step of the way.
We can talk about who's going to play who, but why don't we just wait and find out when Mangum plays Carroll?
They don't play Carroll.
At some point, they're going to end up in a gridlock, head-to-head matchup. Mm-hmm. Mangum and Carroll, guys, you want to be live Friday night at that game, 7 o'clock.
Sure, they don't play this week. Mangum plays North Caddo. Third game to choose from would be Wassman at Northwood. A couple of good teams. We talked about the Wassman Wildcats and how good they are. A.J. Burnett and them boys. And the Northwood Falcons over here in Shreveport are undefeated. They went undefeated last year. They might go undefeated this year. It would be fun to cover them, so keep that in mind as you vote for the polls. I would like to go see the Northwood Falcons play. And the fourth game to choose from is Ouachita at Bastrop. That's a big one. 5A Ouachita going into the Ram House at 4A Bastrop. Lions and Rams, that's a big one. Smith, what are your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, it's going to be definitely a nail biter in my opinion. I really think that's going to bring a lot of fans in to really watch this game. It's going to be a big game. I really think if everything goes well and Bastrop really plays to their potential, they will win this game.
I think they should be a slight favorite. The odds haven't come out on that game yet, but they did beat Evangel. Ouachita almost beat Neville, so it's a couple of good squads, and it should be a fun game regardless. I know what you're probably thinking right now at home or on the road as you listen to this. We did not bring up West Monroe Neville for Game of the Week. We covered Neville versus U-High in Week 2. And West Monroe is playing at Neville. And our rule at Norla for Game of the Week is that in the regular season, we do not go to the same school twice. And we were very explicit when we said in Week 2, hey guys, if you vote for Neville versus U-High, we're not going to cover West Monroe at Neville in Week 5. But yet the votes were overwhelmingly for Neville, which to me says that you don't want us to cover West Monroe Neville, so we're not going to consider it. We're not going to put it on the poll. Don't worry, West Monroe fans. We'll get you at some point. You're deserving of a game of the week, but you're going to Neville this week. We can't do it. We already went there. Unfortunately, that's the rules. I make them, and I abide by them, and that's what it is. So those are the games. Again, Oak Grove at St. Fred, Mangum at North Caddo, Wassman at Northwood, Ouachita at Bastrop. We'll put those on the poll soon. Vote for them. Retweet them. Hey, Halton retweeted our poll this week, and they got tons of votes, and that's the main reason we went and covered them, because we had a lot of support from the Halton community. So if you're one of those 8 schools I named, Oak Grove, St. Fred, Mangum, North Caddo, Wassman, Northwood, Ouachita, Bastrop, get on there. Retweet the polls. Get your fans involved. We'll come to your city. We'll cover you. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's what we want to do here. We have fun, and we want to give exposure to these schools.
Who is Carroll playing?
Carroll is on bye.
Yeah, no one.
Do you want to go? Do you want us to put Carroll on the poll? We'll just go hang out at the stadium.
Yeah, we'll just leave.
We'll set up some tents on the field. We'll just camp out, roast some marshmallows. Is that what you want to do?
I think us throwing around a football would probably be better than watching them play.
We can have a flag football game on the field at Carroll.
Well, I think seeing how successful the varsity team is, perhaps we could check out maybe a JV game or a freshman Carroll game. Kind of see where the pipeline of these athletes are coming from.
Thursday nights, or usually Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, or when they do this, we cover Friday night games. It's not called Thursday Night Lights, Rat. It's called Friday Night Lights. And Carol sounds like a 60-year-old woman's name, and that doesn't sound interesting to me.
We're lucky nobody from Carroll listens to this, because I think we are.
How do you know they don't? They might.
Are awfully biased against the Sea Dogs.
You're awfully biased towards the Sea Dogs. You're the Fox News of this Sea Dog train, and we're the CNN over here trying to keep you in check.
All right, Don Imus.
I don't even know who that is. Do you have anything else to say, Rat?
Well, if Rush Limbaugh
do you want to just go
and Bill Maher can have their show, then I don't see why Carroll can't be a part of our show.
Dak Prescott was really good at Halton.
You did mention that before, and I think that's a valid point. I think it's good to bring up that there has been a lot of success from this area.
You know, he's
He went to
right-eye
Halton.
dominant. You know, he's really plays golf left-handed.
Really?
Yeah.
See, now that's the kind of coverage you're not going to get anywhere else. Dak Prescott plays golf left-handed. You heard it here first.
And he will be in New Orleans, and I am a New Orleans Saints fan.
He will be there. Who are you going to root for in that? Are you going to root for Dak or the Saints?
Who, Dak? No, not Dak.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up the simple fact that he was good at Halton when he played, but NFL, whoop.
Well, they've had a pretty good season so far, I think.
Yeah, well.
Now, where did he play high school? You just mentioned it.
Halton?
Not Carroll? He didn't play at Carroll?
No, who good plays at Carroll?
Rat, who good has come out of Carroll?
I believe Brady James, the classic LSU Dallas Cowboys standouts. We may have to check with me on that.
Another Dallas Cowboy.
Who the is Brady James?
He started at Wassman and then he ended at Carroll. And also, there's been plenty of amazing NBA players come from Carroll. It's a pipeline.
No, there hasn't.
It's a pipeline for the NBA.
No, it's not. You're just lying. You're just breathing lies into the podcast microphone. You're sullying our sanctuary of podcast sports information here at the Horseshoe with just outright lies for no reason, just because you think we disrespect Carroll. Why would you just?
I mean,
hey, Rat, well, just go to the spa.
Trust me, I will.
I think you should just go to the spa.
A 50-minute Swedish massage after this just back and forth vial of just visceral content is a stress producer. It's a life eater, and I will have to take many hours to outlive this and to accept what has happened today.
Okay, fine. So you are going to the spa.
That's a given.
Are you going now?
Well, I'm going to wait until we finish.
Okay, well then let's get this over with. All right, so we've talked about game of the week. I don't even know where to go next. I guess we'll head right into the segment. We like to put a special segment on the podcast, and this time I'm not doing a segment. Sorry, I'll get back to you all of that. Rat's not doing a segment. You're welcome. This time, our guest, the Sportsmith, is going to do a segment. And this segment is going to be just some thoughts from the Sportsmith about what he saw around the area this weekend. And the segment is called the Sportsmith Saturday Sighting Special Surprise Segment. Take it away, Smith.
Well, you know, we're here in Bossier City, Louisiana, at the Horseshoe. It's a very nice facility here, and had a lot of very cool things to do, especially the spa, of course, you know. But anyway, we're not going to bring that back up for rat's sake. But anyway, going to the game yesterday in Halton, I was really expecting the facilities to be very nice, in which they were, and the weight room looked pretty well built, and I really thought, you know, with Dak coming out of the Halton, they would have had a big, you know, ordeal for him, or he would do something for the school. I'd really like to see that. But once again, Halton played very well. Had a very good quarterback. He's has a very good arm, really good at throwing on the run.
I wonder if he's ever practiced with Dak Prescott.
You know, probably not. I really don't see it because, you know, he's probably better than Dak was in high school.
Ooh.
But he was definitely a caliber, you know, quarterback. Bird, on the other hand, man, I was really expecting a lot more out of Bird, especially being the school they are and what type of pass they have in football. Mm-hmm. And they just really did not impress me with trying to run the ball continuously and beat down the defense, and wanted to not really throw the ball. And then they tried at the end of the game, but it was just too late. They threw a couple interceptions in there, right in a very key part of the game. And really, tensions got high.
Sure.
Fans got upset. Refs throwing flags everywhere. And it was definitely a heated game towards the end. I really think that Bird went in there with the intentions on winning the game against Halton. But it seemed not to work out that way. And I wish the best for both teams as they move forward to this season. I know Halton's got a pretty rough road coming up against them. And Bird, you're pretty much shot. But it's definitely going to be interesting. What are your thoughts?
And that has been the Sportsmith Saturday Sightings special surprise segment with the Sportsmith. Thank you, Smith. That was great. I thought that was a fantastic segment. You gave a lot of expert insight there. I think that's a pretty good way to wrap up the podcast. What are your plans for the rest of the day?
Oh, Oktoberfest is here on the Red River, and we're going to go out there and check that out and see all the good bands and probably drink a couple cold.
Some Norla live music.
Yeah, and get to really experience the culture around Shreveport, this area, and be able to really see what's actually going on, maybe get some good food.
Absolutely.
And there's definitely going to be a lot of alcohol consumed on my part.
Oh.
And I'm just going to, have a good time and try to enjoy myself in this weather.
Yeah. Well, just, be safe with all that. Maybe I'll come along. That sounds like fun.
Definitely won't be at the spa.
Right. We'll have to make sure that Rat is at the spa when we go to this thing. Speaking of Rat, if it wasn't for those intrusions, I think this would have been a nice 10 out of 10 podcast. But even so, I think this is one of the best episodes we've had to date. I just would like to thank the Sportsmith for coming on and being a guest. And I think that it would be nice to have you in the future because we need to shake things up a little bit.
Well, I think mostly the schedule's pretty full. But I did want to kind of recap some things that I noticed in the podcast. On what I viewed was maybe it needs some additional clarification. I don't know. I feel like I heard Haynesville a lot at the game of the week, and it was really at Halton. I heard a technical foul with 2 free throws from the. We'll have to look into
it. I got you here, Smith. This is a raw, unfiltered podcast, and if we audited all the mistakes that you made in the past,
we'll have to edit that. Yeah. But
I'm the expert here. I mean,
true.
I think that's stick with your numbers.
I think.
Really, what's the difference between a free throw on an and one and a PAT after a touchdown? You're still setting up to make an easy 1 point.
That may be true.
It is true.
I'm sorry, Smith. We may need to examine the expert certificate that you are surnaming your last name with.
It's not a certificate.
Definitely.
You call yourself an expert too.
Well,
and you think Carol's good.
Also, that segment, what was that?
That was the Sportsmith Saturday Sighting special surprise segment.
Talking.
It was a special surprise segment.
What was
from
surprising
the Sportsmith
about Bird running and the heated tempers?
That was surprising to me.
I don't know. I just think that was. It lacked. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. But I think the schedule is probably full for guests.
What are your opinions on the game last night? I mean, other than
do you have anything?
Have anything you want to add that you think is just so much better than?
Do you have anything better than what the Sportsmith said?
Do you want me to tear my certificate?
Put your beer down and talk about the game last night.
I have it in a plaque at my house.
You have the floor.
Hurt my feelings. You want to tear up my plaque?
You have the floor.
Go ahead. Do you have anything you want to add there? Go ahead and throw your numbers.
Well,
And this has been the Week 4 recap with Norla Sports. JD signing off for the Sportsmith and the ever-present Top Rat. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.